Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and we have some interesting stuff going on with Litecoin this week. The hash rate hit a new all-time high. Charlie Lee's tweeting about it. And is there some kind of conspiracy with Elon Musk and Doge and the connection of merge mining with Dogecoin and Litecoin? I don't know, but Johnny Litecoin might know something. So we'll be right back right after this with Johnny Litecoin. Welcome back, Johnny. How are you?
I'm doing good, Lisa. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good. We've got lots of exciting stuff happening. I was following a tweet or a thread in Twitter, watching Charlie Lee, and he actually had a really interesting conversation. He was pretty responsive. I don't know that I can find all of his responses, but I know you and I chatted just a little bit before we jumped on here, and you were having some of the same thoughts as Charlie Lee. And I saw somebody was talking about Elon was talking about the merged mining, about Doge and Litecoin, and of course Charlie mentions it. So they said this is on May 3rd. Charlie says Litecoin mining hash rate has hit an all-time high over 500 THS. Well, I don't even know what the heck that means, but that's a proof of work of I don't know what number this is. Lots of zeros. Hash is performed every second by the Litecoin network. And this is thanks in part to our friends at Dogecoin who are mining together with us to secure both networks. And so I want to unpack this a little bit because this is really significant in the long term. And that's where Litecoin it's so interesting to me that the personality of it so much matches the creator of it. It's very humble, quiet, slowly, silently building in the background,
It's almost the opposite of the crypto space, which is hype and memes and all this other stuff. So
it really is.
Doge is almost like it would think of it like the relative of Litecoin that's like opposite. It's flashy, it's hypey, it's got memes, it's this, it's that.
What's that guy on Shitter's Full or whatever? Like it's the uncle, what's his face? Like that obnoxious cousin. In everybody's family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's actually, if you think about it, if you wanted to push a decentralized currency forward, and you wanted to kind of take the attention off of it where you didn't want anyone to take it too serious, so they tried to crack down on it too hard or for whatever have you, you would kind of divert their attention with something like a Dogecoin.
Right. Because we're just going to use this shit coin. Yeah.
And it's everyone that owns Litecoin should like Doge to some degree. Now, I don't own any Dogecoin, but I do respect it and I like it. And I respect it that it's merged mined with Litecoin. So they're both strengthening each other's networks, which to me is really cool because if something's helping Litecoin, I like it. So it's very interesting, though, that Doge is what they pumped and what got pumped by everybody. And almost it's like it was non-threatening to people. It's like, oh, it's a meme. It's this, it's that. When push comes to shove, it's Dogecoin. Litecoin is a little more threatening. It's most closely tied to Bitcoin. It's a lot better of a cryptocurrency, more powerful of a cryptocurrency. it's a little more threatening to the powers to be, I'd say, than
Right.
Dogecoin was.
Oh,
So
trust me, it's very threatening to
yeah.
the Bitcoin maxis. I mean, I can tell you that firsthand.
Oh yeah. Well, they didn't say nothing at the conference. I said I talked to about Litecoin to every single person, and nobody said a peep. So it's,
Here's one of his comments. Meme game is strong. It's good for Litecoin, as most money is spent on securing the Litecoin network.
yeah,
So he's saying, like, let them buy all the memes they want, because them spending money on memes is actually helping to secure the Litecoin network.
yep,
And then he goes on to talk about, and this was one, and this was what we had talked about, that eventually the mining for Litecoin, one day all the Litecoin will be mined.
yes, and
But
Bitcoin.
and Bitcoin at some point. But because it's merge mined with Dogecoin, Dogecoin will be mined to infinity. It will, so that means that the Litecoin network will be continually
Yes,
strengthened or mined by being mined by, and I can't find his
and
comment here.
that'll go to provide good security for the network. Again, this is long after we're dead, but still,
Right.
this is something to think out, because this is probably in about 110 years from now to 120 years from now. What was created 110, 120 years ago?
This is it.
Lisa,
This was actually, I'm sorry, this is his comment. This was actually something I thought of when I proposed merge mining. If Dogecoin survived long enough, its tail emission is what he
will
calls
help.
it, will help secure the Litecoin network if Litecoin fees are not enough. And this is done without changing the 84 million Litecoin supply. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry, what were you saying?
okay, so the last Litecoin will be mined like I said, in approximately 110, maybe 120 years from now, right? They estimate the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140. Last Litecoin will be mined around that as well. So I say, hey, maybe give it a few extra, maybe a few years ahead of time. Who knows? That's a long time. So that's why I said 110 to 120 years. What was created around 110 years ago from right now?
The Fed, right?
Federal
Is that
Reserve,
what you're
Fed,
saying?
right?
Yeah, the Fed.
What's coming to an end right now?
The Fed
The dollar, right?
punish the banks.
So
Yeah.
if you want to think something out that say, hey, we want this still to work in 110 years so our grandchildren can use it, and it's not, we don't leave all this problem on them like others did to us, then this is stuff to think through.
That's right. Those are some books that my mom gave me from my dad.
Very nice. What is that book? I can't see it.
This one is The Global Abuse of Money, of the Creation of Money, and the New Sound and Just Monetary System. This is just one of them.
Very
My dad
nice.
has lots of really cool books. Collection of works of Ingersoll Lockwood, Bitcoin for Dummies, Joseph Pieper, and the Abuse of Language and the Abuse of Power. I think we know who else he's talking about there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. There we go.
it's really good ones.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So interesting, Lisa. It's interesting with all this stuff, and it's like, in 110 years, Litecoin could be the world reserve currency. We don't
Absolutely.
know. We don't know.
I don't think it'll take that long, but yeah.
Right. I mean, maybe in 110 years it is, but maybe it'll have been the world reserve currency for 50 years by that point in time.
Right.
We don't know. True crypto adoption is going to take a lot longer. We're still very early in this as far as people's knowledge. I'd say we're probably looking at before, like, it's normal for people just to use crypto and stuff. Where again, normal, where everybody's doing it or knows how to do it. We're probably still looking at 20 years off. We're looking at
You
a long,
think that long?
long
I
time.
mean, market cap, I mean, that's where when we're talking about market cap, that was pretty significant. I was really encouraged by I saw an article that said that, and this really surprised me, that when El Salvador made Bitcoin their legal tender, and they gave, I don't know how they did it, but they airdropped all the citizens some free Bitcoin, and it said that more than 40% of El Salvador citizens are still have active wallets. And I thought that was really encouraging. And that to me means that if they did that in more countries, to know that, that had to be more than what, 2 years ago? Because it was before the vid, I think, or right around that time.
The
So
problem is,
for 40% of their citizens to still be using an active wallet, that's pretty encouraging.
you'll see adoption faster in other countries where people are using crypto, all of them. US,
Right.
I
They're
feel like
spoiled.
20
Mhm.
years because we're too spoiled here.
Mhm.
People want, like I wish everyone wanted to punish the banks. No one wants to punish the banks. They want the bank to give them the lollipop and the
Right.
coffee.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the bank. They like the bank. They want the
Yeah.
bank to make it easy for them. The main thing I've been hearing with crypto, I've been in normie land to the 10th power setting up these cash register
Yeah.
systems and Normieville, Normieville, Normieville. I usually wear a Bitcoin hat or something crypto. So I'm
Yeah.
crypto-y, right? So, and I'm obviously talking about crypto. I'm bringing it up, but I'm there to do the regular. I'm not in there for crypto, right? But
Mhm.
when Bitcoin comes up, the main thing people say is, "Oh, you can get hacked," and they automatically go to that, and they have it set in their minds that it's too scary for them because they can be hacked, and because although anything can be hacked, because they have it in their minds that they can be hacked and lose the Bitcoin, that they have to then take some type of nobody wants to have any type of responsibility, is what
Right.
I've learned. People want to be totally, for the most part, not everybody, not the people that listen to this, but we got to realize how are
Right.
other people thinking. They are reckless. They don't want any responsibility. They say, I don't want to have to secure anything if it gets
Yes.
hacked. And if you try to tell them this is problem wrong with the system, it's too deep for most people. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to think about that. What's the news saying? So it's very hard for them to conceptualize, well, it's bad for you because this is how we got into this mess. And it's like, unless they have a reason to be. So that's what I mean, that it's too looked at as price in the US right now, where price is the ultimate driver for people. Yeah, they're super into trading cryptos and making money. A lot of people own crypto, but I always say a story. 9 out of 10 crypto owners, if their life depended on it, if you gave them 3 minutes and said, I'll give you 3 minutes, send me a crypto transaction, they couldn't do it. They would perish because they couldn't
Don't know
figure
their password, don't
don't
have
know their
the,
password. They're not ready to do it.
yeah.
They've never done it before. They don't know. It's in most people. They might tell, even some of the people are super into crypto. They have no clue what a wallet even means. So
Oh,
it's,
come on.
yeah.
You really think that?
Yeah, because they're just used to the
Because they
exchange.
don't use it every day.
And it doesn't, tough thing for me. I'm so ideological with this, and it means so much to me about sound money and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Most people, they're just like, they could give a shit less about it. It's kind of like a weird, like, it's a problem we have to tackle. Is like, I'm bringing this up because how do we, not to complain, I
No,
only
but we
bring
need to
stuff
have
up
these.
so
Yeah.
we can think, how do we get through to these people and make it relative to them. So
Mhm.
like I said, even with we're starting to see with the whole Canadian truckers and all that, everything that was going on with that, we were starting to wake some people up. Then, kind of like I predicted, there was going to be an event that happened that they were going to do to us. I predicted two things last year that I've been spot on accurate with. I said, and I actually did it on this show. I said, Lisa, get ready for an event. They're going to do something to us. I said, I don't know what it is. It's going to be big. And they're going to use this to distract us and take our minds away from the reason we were in the masks,
Mhm.
the thing with the truckers, the funds getting shut down. What happened a
Right.
couple weeks after, the beginning, everyone was up in arms about GoFundMe seizing all the money from the truckers and all that in Canada. 2 weeks later, everybody cheered on financial sanctions because of Russia, Ukraine.
Right.
So they literally cheered on what GoFundMe
Shutting
did
down.
2 weeks
Yeah.
before. And
Right.
so it was like, that's the problem. You have to always look at what's the people I don't like right now. And they're going to have
Yeah.
this their way. Do I want that kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the same thing that's happening right now with the whole Roe v. Wade thing. The irony that they're standing there with masks on their face saying that they support, you know, don't tell me what to do with my body, but here I'm going to tell you to stick something on your face. You know what I mean? They're making you look like an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
oh, here,
It's
you support this narrative in this situation, but you don't support it in that situation. They're really like just playing people's emotions instead of
sure.
the
And they go from one thing
fact.
to the next to,
Yes.
you know, now
And it's
there's,
all about division. It's all about confusing people and division. Wait, let's turn confuse the people, confuse the people, confuse the people. And how many groups can we turn against each other?
I,
And here's,
I
now
never
let's
thought
wait, we're back
politics.
at
Here's my answer to people when I do business and I meet people. I tell people I don't like any of the politicians. I tell people I'm about
right,
Bitcoin and solutions. I tell people none of these people are have our best interests at heart. So I question them all, Lisa. I
hmm
questioned even Mr. T. I know we all loved him and stuff, and he was obviously a lot better than Brandon, but I questioned him a lot too because he did a lot of stuff that made me scratch my head and stuff with the vax and stuff. And I know a lot of people that got the vax because that man went on TV and told them it was safe. So,
right,
and to me, that's where I drew the line because people could say, oh, no, we did it for this reason or that reason or this reason or that reason. Yeah, but I know a lot of people that did it because he told them it was safe and they're severely affected now. So it's,
that's
you
right.
know, I
Yeah.
just
You're
question.
like, well, he could have just said, he could have done Operation Warp Speed without giving his opinion one way or the other,
Here's
is
what
what
I
you're
would say
saying.
if I was a politician. Really easy answer. I'd say, because the big thing for these rhino Republicans was to say that, you're about people's freedom of bodily choice, but you encourage everyone to get vaccinated, right? I would say, people, I'm not your doctor. I'm not telling you
I'm not
anything.
a biologist. Wait, I'm not a biologist.
I'd say I work out every
I'm not a
day. Most
doctor.
people
Yeah.
think I'm a psycho. Like, most
Mhm.
people don't want to do that. That's what I
Yeah.
recommend everybody does. But you do
Yeah.
you. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I didn't study this. I'm not
Right.
saying you do it or don't do it. I don't know either way. I tell the people, you know what I mean? And
Right.
And then it made say, oh, he's anti this. It'd be like, anti this? He said he doesn't know one way or the other.
Right.
But it's I question them all, and that's a way to, I find, like, unite people, because it's no matter who people like politically, you're like, hey, I don't like either of these. I want solutions. I'm not trying to divide anybody. I'm trying to like move
Ask
forward.
all the questions.
It's
Yeah.
about we the people, not we the politician.
Sheeple.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we the sheeple.
Yeah.
and and the government should be small. They should be very small and work for they should be microscopic. There shouldn't be much that they're, you know what I mean? It should be there for basic things, not for.
Well, that's why I'm so frustrated with the Roe v. Wade thing, is that they're getting into the minutia. Everybody's talking about whether abortion is right or wrong, and that's not even what it's about. It's about that it's supposed to be decided at a state level. It's unconstitutional for the Supreme Court to be deciding it, that it's supposed to be decided at a state level. So each state may actually decide that it's legal.
Right.
That is what Alito was saying.
Right.
And so they did not want that getting out. So they immediately leaked it out, and then took the narrative of the media and got everybody hyped up, and people don't
You're
actually
kind of freezing
read.
up a little, Lisa.
Well, of course I am. Of course I am. So yeah, I
a
don't
lot
know
of
if you guys
people
can hear
think
me
too
or not.
that it got leaked. A lot of people think it got leaked too because the vax data was so bad. And that to take people's attention away from that, because of all the if you read through that stuff, it's I mean it's bad. And I know personally right now multiple people with shingles that are young from the jab.
Oh, really?
Yep. And when we brought it up to them, they were like, "Oh, we never heard that." And it's like, and they're all in the same friend group too, and they all
so my hairdresser is in a like a forum for hairdressers, and she said a lot of them, at like a couple months after having the vid or being exposed, or she said, we don't know if it's because we wash a lot of people's hair, we have a lot of contact with people who have gotten jabbed or whatever, or because we had it, or but after this great infection of whatever, a lot of hairdressers are losing significant amounts of hair, like a lot. And I thought that was really weird. And it's starting to be a trend in like hairdressers forums and stuff.
What, that they're losing it, or their clients are losing
no
hair?
That hairdressers are
Themselves.
Yes, and if you think about how many people they touch, like their job is that they touch so many people. And Uncle Cliff talked about that shedding.
Yeah.
That might be a possibility and all that. So
interesting.
I don't know. It's kind of strange, but
it's all I know is that all the people with it right now got and this is, I've seen this, friends, and hopefully they realize like it didn't work. And my hope that I'm noticing with people is that they kind of feel like the dog that peed on the floor, and they're not talking. So for me, I mean, I'm willing. Look, I'm not happy with how these people acted, but I don't expect much at all from people. Like I always tell people, they usually have too high of expectations from people. I always expect like people to like give up and this and that. Right. So I'm just like, they're not going to be mentally strong to do it. Like I just expect this. So I kind of look at it as like they're easily manipulated. At least maybe people can get past it, hopefully, and not and then not bother people about it. I think if anything, maybe they messed up and now they try to. I think the good out of this is going to be they won't be able to roll out the passport thing easy because they're going to be like, wait a second. So that
People need
is
to make a
good.
choice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
because
is good. Yeah.
if they would have got on their end, if they would have got that out faster before everybody saw all the bad data and stuff coming in, they
And
could have
before
got,
the CBDC comes,
yeah,
because
they
if
could
that
have,
was tied to the CBDC, that would be
yeah.
really dangerous.
Now I think even people that were so into this whole thing and the narrative, once they got it themselves and they had the jab, now they're kind of, this whole thing's bullshit, this and that, yada, yada, yada. And they don't want to quarantine themselves. And they're
Right.
so that's what I'm noticing in my area.
Crazy.
My
Hey,
area is
so you were also
the
talking.
most, I would say my area is the most heavily jabbed area in the country.
That's crazy.
Hands down, I'd say we're at 90% rates of people that got it.
Hey, so one of the other things you were noticing in your area was this. Hold on, I gotta take my AirPod out. I shouldn't have even done this.
Oh, you're muted, Lisa. Lisa, oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I think I think a lot of people are noticing this, is these price increases, which they're blaming on Putin. They're not blaming this on the,
Yeah.
20 food,
That's the
processing
shift
plant.
in the narrative, Lisa. They wanted to take your attention somewhere else, and they did an event, the Russia-Ukraine thing, and now we have somebody to blame and focus on.
Yeah. So
Going here. How's it going today? So, check out the new hat. Shout out to Kyle at the Nakamoto Standard on Twitter. Awesome dude. Word on the street is he sent me this hat, right? Liberty hat. Bitcoin and Litecoin, but it's an important hat to be wearing today because we were out programming menus and the point of sale systems, and the big theme by business owners is inflation. Obviously, this is no secret. They might not be calling it inflation. They're calling it prices rising drastically. So, I'll give you guys a great example. We were programming the menu for a pizzeria, and we're asking him what the cost of the toppings are on the pizza. And he said, well, we have to raise them from what they were. But he goes, chicken is in its league of its own. He goes, let me tell you about chicken. He showed us his invoice. His invoice for chicken is up 110% in the last 4 months. Now, the official government statistics are 8% inflation, not 110% in 4 months. That's hyperinflation, right? So, resonated with this guy when I started talking about Bitcoin, about Litecoin, about why the hell on earth am I wearing this hat that our man Kyle gave us. So, guys, inflation is hitting Main Street. We're getting asked every day to change the prices in people's registers. It's hitting, it's actually making the Bitcoin conversation a lot easier because we're now able to talk about a sound money to people. We're actually able to show people, hey, we told the last guy, we said, the reason why chicken's going up so much is because this stuff's floating away into thin air. It's hyperinflating. And then we're able to easily explain Bitcoin, explain Litecoin, explain all this stuff. So that's it, guys. The theme on Main Street is prices rising. Peace, you guys.
that is so important. And I think that goes to why people are like, oh, but Bitcoin's been going sideways. It's not going sideways if you take into consideration that the dollar's actually just tanking.
Yeah. And it's now they're fooling us now. So the markets, right? You might see this now they might say, well, Lisa and Johnny, what are you talking about? The dollar is getting stronger. The Dixie, the dollar index, the DXY chart's been getting stronger, right? The US dollar index is only relative to other fiat currencies, right? So it's all it is comparing fiat to fiat. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I told everyone last year that we weren't going to go into the hyperinflationary period until the end of this year leading into the beginning of next year. And then everyone said, well, that seems like a little far off. Isn't going to be hitting by like April and May. And I said, no, I expect, if anything, we'll see the markets start to come down. It's going to be a bad year for Bitcoin, I told everyone, and they're going to try to raise the interest rates and stop the quantitative easing. It's not going to work. What's going to happen is, Tom said game's almost over. I think it is. They're going to keep playing this game. They're going to attempt to get a deflation. They're going to try to pop the markets, right? So you keep going, hearing them go back and forth. They can do a 50 basis point rate hike, a 75 basis point rate hike. They'll probably do a couple more. Now, we're coming into an election, in the midterm elections, right? Obviously, they're going to want to start pumping easy money back into the system. If not, they're already doomed. They're doomed 8 ways to Sunday, the Dems, right? So you have that. Okay, you have that on the one hand. The other thing is, too, once the markets start crashing, which they'll crash them on purpose, that way they could step back in with easy money and lower the interest rates. Once they do that, I don't think they'll have the inflation under control by then. We're going in that's like the stagflation we're in. We're going to keep seeing inflation stay steadily high or keep rising. Or what's going to happen is people all over the world are going to be like, they're out of tools. The jig is up. And that's when everyone is going to run from the dollar. Right now, the dollar is the safe haven around the world. When fear hits the markets, the dollar gets strong temporarily. Money goes out of risk assets, goes into the dollar. As the US dollar is dying, as the fiat currencies around the world are dying, this is important to remember. It's a big picture. So people might say, Lisa, Johnny, what are you guys talking about? You're saying the dollar's dying, but I'm watching another show. They're saying the dollar got stronger today. It's getting stronger. It's not. It only is relative to what they're talking about. And the jig is up soon. So I think you will, by fall of this year, they're gonna reverse course. All I gotta say is, what a time to be in Litecoin, because you're gonna have down crypto prices this year. You can keep accumulating. The Litecoin, to me, it's all opportunity. Money's went elsewhere. Money that should have went into Litecoin went into Dogecoin, went into some of this other stuff, right? So you have a super undervalued Litecoin. You have a huge, arguably the biggest upgrade in all of crypto history in Mimblewimble, MWeb that just hit Litecoin. And you have a halving coming up next year, which could create a supply shock afterwards as well. So you have multiple things.
And Grayscale is building its fund with Litecoin.
Yep. 100. Well, the other thing is, too, now we've talked about this, Lisa, which people don't agree with us, but the banks are putting their systems in place, and people might say, no. Yes, trust me, they are. I work in that industry. Just because I'm Johnny Litecoin, I yell about him. I wear a t-shirt and a hat, not a suit. That's what I do. I work in the financial industry doing credit card payments and stuff. Like, trust me, they're getting their shit ready, right?
Yeah, no, my friend is working on the committee with the Fed to create the CBDC. And actually, I just retweeted from the Fed where they were like talking about the CBDC and asking for, what is a central bank digital currency? And then they actually ask for the Federal Reserve issues a discussion paper examining pros and cons. As part of this process, we're seeking feedback on a range of CBDC related topics. And I was like, oh, I know some people who might want to give you some feedback. So I like tagged all of my besties here in crypto world. And I was like, here you go. Here's the link. Go ahead and give them your feedback. So yeah, it's happening. I mean, you think the banks don't have this all lined up? And at the point where they're asking for your opinion, they already have their opinion
they
in
are.
place.
Of course
Yeah.
they are. So with all their plan, their plan's actually good for Bitcoin and Litecoin because they can't do a lot with most cryptos because they're securities. They're not decentralized.
Mhm.
Bitcoin and Litecoin, they might not love it, where they might not say, hey, we don't want people moving all their money out of the dollar into this, but we could live with it. And if we can make money off it and profit from it and control it, well, yeah, get your Bitcoin or your Litecoin if they can collect the toll in and out. And what they're going to do is just say, yeah, you could hold it on our platform and you have insurance now. And they'll tell you some scary stories about people that they'll probably put
It'll be the same thing they did with gold and silver.
they'll
They might even threaten you and tell you it's illegal, like they did with gold back in World War II. What they did was they told you it was illegal to own gold. Then you had to turn all your gold in.
They won't need to do that now. People are so easily controlled.
They don't have to do that.
You got to remember, we're only seeing the people that are like the outliers that we see. When you deal with the regular normies out there, I wish it wasn't the case, but I do this every day, working with regular people, talking to them about it. They want the bank. They love the bank. The bank is like, they're fascinated with the bank. Like, this is my bank. Like, it's just makes me sick, drives me crazy. But it's why I'm trying to think of like, how do we and they'd rather, if you told them all this good stuff about Litecoin and Bitcoin and hold it yourself and you have the freedom, you have the control. If the bank came along and said, hey, we'll hold it for you. Now you can't get hacked. They'll say, well, I want that. I want this because I can't get hacked. It's like, yeah, but then they can tell you down the line, you have to go outside your house and stand on your head and yell potato at 4:00, or they're going to keep it on you.
Right.
They'll be like,
you can't go buy what you want unless we approve it. Yeah.
They'll just say, they'll push back a little bit if you take their snacks from them or something, and then they'll give in. They'll always want to give you the bad stuff. That's the thing, like the bad foods and stuff. They always want to give you that. They want to keep you sick, depressed, medicated, and dependent. So they'll give you all the bad stuff you want.
Definitely.
They might not let you get like you want to buy like organic vegetables. They're going to say, well, you can't buy from this local. I could see this happening, them saying you can't use the money at a local market because they haven't been approved through this big governmental agency and it won't work there, kind of thing. And remember, regulation is always bad. It's always bad. So people are like, we want crypto regulation, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, I tell people it's bullish for the price. You want a high price, it'll be good for the price, right? But it's not good for our use. They never regulate it good for us. Look at the whole thing with Celsius.
Oh, gosh.
Regulators got involved and now said, you know what? Now only accredited investors can get this interest. We don't want normal people getting it. You gotta be accredited to get it. It's
the little guy can't have the same opportunities to invest.
That's not a complicated financial product. It's buying a stable coin and collecting interest on it. Let's be serious. So it's so I always said nothing that they do ever has your best interests at heart. They're never gonna regulate this good. Nothing they do is good for us. They're not doing this ever for us. Look at the food they give. Look at all the stuff they do. They're poisoning us with. That's what they They want, yeah, stay dependent on that medical system. You know what I mean? And that's what they want. Go to see your doctor. Do what he says. Take your shots. And then you can eat whatever you want. Go eat 8 cakes and you're fine. As long as you do what they say at the doctor. Don't listen to those people that look healthy. They're bad. They're very bad.
They must be doing something wrong. Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, they're very unhealthy and sick, those people.
They're sick in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's crazy. It's so crazy when this world is upside down. When thinking for yourself seems crazy. It's crazy.
My advice to everybody is, now I'm an optimist. So hope for the best in every situation. Always be hopeful. Like I love you, Lisa. You always got your hopium, right? I got my hopium too, right?
Yeah.
I'm always hopeful that the best outcome's going to happen. But I'm expecting the worst possible thing is probably going to happen. Like, it's like, you think this is, I'm hoping that happens, but I'm expecting like this awful thing to actually happen. So I'm planning for the awful thing, but I'm not projecting that. I'm talking about, well, we want the good thing to happen. But if the really terrible, like the bad, shitty thing happens, we're prepared for it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? We're not surprised. These people did this. They disinvited you because you didn't have this. Like, of course they did. Like, are you mad? No, I expected it from them. Of course, I
got a backup plan. Yeah.
Got a backup plan in place. You know what I mean? I'm ready with plan B. You know?
Yeah. Well, plan B is Bitcoin, but we've also got Litecoin. And I think Litecoin is for the people. And I think it's going to be that bridge, that arc, that when the flood comes, when there's blood in the streets, I think that's part of the reason that the price is so suppressed. I think it is on purpose. I think it is for this time. And I think this is the spring that it's going to be there for the people when the dollar crashes and dies. And they're like, and people mentally think, oh, well, I can't afford a Bitcoin. And it's so early that they don't have the time to get educated in this rush, this FOMO into crypto. And Litecoin's on every ATM, crypto ATM out there, you know, and they're going to hit that Litecoin button instead. That's
you have
really
an insane demand coming to Litecoin because it's going to be this is the comment was the thought I want to end everybody on, right? Litecoin is going to be in such demand because it's going to be the only way to get KYC free Bitcoin in a legal manner. Okay. That's very important. You don't want to meet somebody in a parking lot and sell them Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin from them or Litecoin. It's actually illegal because if they have the money transmitter rules in place and they want to really get you on that, they'll get you on selling currency or whatever, unlicensed or whatever, right? So you're going to be able to legally get Bitcoin through buying Litecoin legally, right? You go buy your Litecoin legally, you do your KYC or whatever, you had your Litecoin. Okay, cool, you got your Litecoin, right? You bought it legally. Yep, I got it. Now you take it, you move it into Mimblewimble. It's mine now. It's private now. What are you doing with it? It's gone. It's private, right? You send it into a Lightning channel, and then you do a cross-chain atomic swap, and you come out the other side with Bitcoin. That there's no KYC attached to it, and you legally did it because you did it with code. You didn't buy it from someone that had possession of it. Code is protected by law. So that's what makes it legal versus illegal. If the code's doing it, it's legal. If a person's doing or they're holding it, illegal.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's going to create.
We were having some of these conversations. I was having one of these conversations with someone else, and I'm doing some research on this. So I might invite you to be on a panel with this conversation if you're interested.
Awesome.
Yeah, because we're having a conversation about that in another group. And then also talking about, that Bitcoin is actually an NFT. And people were like, what? No, it's fungible. And Reggie has this great argument for that. He's like, oh, really? Well, how about I give you some Bitcoin that's been frozen
And
in
see if
exchange for some Bitcoin that's not.
Yeah. How's that sound?
And they were like, well, what do you mean? Or how about I give you, I want the first Bitcoin that was ever mined. If you had the first Bitcoin that was ever mined, don't you think that's more valuable than a Bitcoin that's mined today? And all of a sudden they were just like, Reggie's right.
It's
Like,
true. It's true.
Bitcoin is an NFT. It was an amazing conversation, but we're gonna, I think, do one of those
NFT.
on a video on that.
I like it. Well,
yeah. So, well, thank you for coming today. Yeah. You have a great day. Thanks, you guys, for joining us in the chat. More great comments. If you guys are watching this, make sure you're watching the live chat and reading the comments as well. Leave us a comment below in the video. Let us know what you think. Would love to go back and read those. And check out the information in the description as well. You can find information on how to find Johnny, and as well as his link to Voyager app. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Happy Hour show with Clint Westwood. And see you guys next time on The New Normal. Take care. Check out more information to reach me and resources to get involved in cryptocurrency at litecoinlisa.net. Take care.
Thanks, guys.